Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another exciting time. We talk about business. It's world economy, looking at economic standings around the world from Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, and North America, and Oceania, Australia. It would be a thick conversation. A part of the conversation will center around Trump as Donald Trump vows no tariff extension and announces 50% tariff on copper imports. Malaysia's Anwar warns of weaponized trade as Trump tariff looms. Dubai's Emirates signs preliminary deal to add crypto to payments. Plus, New Zealand to ban crypto ATMs in broader effort to combat money laundering. These and many more will come your way in world economy. Don't go anywhere. In world economy today, a Trump vows no tariff extension announces 50% tariff on copper imports. President Trump stated yesterday, Tuesday, that there would be no further extension of reciprocal tariffs, which had previously been delayed until August 1st. There has been no change to this date, and there will be no change. In other words, all money will be due and payable starting August 1st, 2025. No extension will be granted, Trump posted on Truth Social. On Monday, Trump posted letters outlining trade tariffs for 14 countries, including Japan, South Korea, South Africa, Indonesia, and Thailand, ranging from 25% to 40%. These measures are set to take effect next month. Trump also announced Tuesday a new 50% tariff on all copper imported into the United States. However, it remains unclear when the copper tariff will take effect. Additionally, he said he plans to announce tariff on imported pharmaceuticals, which could reach as high as 200%. So regarding the tariff in Malaysia, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has warned of global trade being weaponized against weaker countries as Southeastern Asian ministers gather for a summit against the backdrop of United States President Donald Trump's tariff threats. Speaking at the ongoing opening of the annual meeting of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, of Foreign Ministers today, Anwar said that while power had always shaped trade, it was today increasingly defining it. Anwar made his comments as U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was en route to Malaysia for his first visit to Asia as Washington's top diplomat. During his visit, Rubio is scheduled to attend several ASEAN events, including the East Asia Summit Forum, which also includes non-ASEAN countries such as China, India, Japan, and South Korea. While US officials have cast Rubio's trips as a chance to stress Washington's commitment to a free, open, and secure Asia Pacific in the face of China's growing influence, his engagement with regional officials are likely to focus heavily on trade. Meanwhile, Dubai Emirates signs preliminary deal to add crypto to payments. Emirates has signed a preliminary deal with Crypto.com that will allow its customers to make payments through the crypto trading platform's payment service, the Gulf carrier parent company said in a statement today. The partnership, which is expected to come into effect next year, is aimed at tapping into younger, tech-savvy customer segments who prefer digital currencies. Adnan Kazim, Emirates Deputy President and Chief Commercial Officer, said in a statement. The United Arab Emirates has been emerging as a key hub for crypto companies in recent years, with several setting up shops or seeking to expand, and has enabled payment via cryptocurrencies in areas like real estate, school fees, and transportation. In Dubai, which set up watchdog VARA in 2022 to regulate the emerging virtual asset sector, one of the city's largest free zones, the DMCC, hosts more than 650 crypto firms. Other airlines have in recent years adopted cryptocurrencies as payment options. In the Gulf, Dubai listed Air Arabia said in May it may accept UAE dirham backed stablecoin AE coin for flight booking. While New Zealand announced today that it will ban cryptocurrency ATMs as part of its effort to strengthen the country's anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing regime. According to an earlier report, the New Zealand police force stated that crypto ATMs have become one of the primary money laundering portals for drug dealers, identifying 157 crypto ATMs in the country. Alongside the ban on the ATMs, New Zealand is setting a $5,000 cap on international transfers to curb the illicit movement of funds offshore. The New Zealand government and cabinet also plan to introduce a bill that will significantly strengthen the enforcement powers of police and regulators, enabling them to combat money laundering more effectively. While China economy to top $19.5 trillion this year, planner. The size of China's economy will exceed 140 trillion yuan, an equivalent of $19.5 trillion this year. The head of the state planner said as policymakers look to steer the country beyond the current 5-year policy plan, which includes or concludes at the end of 2025. The world's second largest economy is grappling with a prolonged trade war with the United States and persistent deflationary pressures. Looking back at the 14 5-year plan period, the challenges encountered were greater than expected, but the achievement exceeded expectations. Zhang Xiaojie, a chair of the National Development and Reform Commission, said at a press conference. Zhang highlighted progress made under the 2021-2025 5-year plan, which focuses on key priorities such as economic development, technological innovation, green transformation and improvement in people's livelihood. In its 14th 5-year plan released in 2021, China dropped a specific gross domestic product growth, the growth target for 2021 to 2025, but has continued to set annual growth targets during the plan period, with a goal for 2025 set at around 5%. Meanwhile, Bulgaria becomes 21st member to adopt Euro after EU green light. EU ministers gave the final green light on Tuesday for Bulgaria to adopt the euro on January 1st, 2026, marking it the single currency area's 21st member. Bulgaria's switch from the lев to the euro comes nearly 19 years after the country of 6.4 million people joined the European Union. The government remains committed to a smooth and effective transition to the euro in the interest of all citizens, Bulgarian Prime Minister Rosen Jelakov said. In adopting the legal text necessary for the move, EU finance ministers officially set the euro at 1.95583 Bulgarian lev. The European Commission last month said the EU's poorest country had fulfilled a strict condition to adopt the euro, while the European Central Bank ECB also gave a positive opinion. Bulgaria's journey to joining the Eurozone has had a stormy political backdrop with 7 elections in 3 years, the last in October 2024. And now let's go to the market looking at the currencies. The euro against the US dollar market this morning. A different perspective for this market. The euro USD market, what a price range is for some of these. The euro against the US dollar price level stands at 1.17 or 144 point mark, a slight decline for the euro but no significant change in the market this afternoon. A pound against the US dollar price level stands at 1.36 a point mark, 1.36 US dollar to the pound gaining 0.18% over the dollar, and the Australian dollar gaining 0.13% over the dollar. Well, now we'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, world economy continues looking at different perspective, and most importantly, switching gear to Senegal, seeing the perspective in Senegal. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's your world economy. And now to Africa and Senegal. Senegal has officially cancelled R&B singer Akon's ambitious plan to build a multi-billion-dollar city along the country's Atlantic coast, replacing it with a more modest, privately funded development in light of economic pressures. In 2020, Senegal granted Akon 136 acres of land to build its ambitious Akon City, a futuristic smart city envisioned to transform the quiet farming village of Mbodene into a tech-driven urban hub. Senegal cancelled the proposed Akon City project due to insufficient progress and financial complications. Akon City was intended to be a $6 billion futuristic smart city transforming Mbodene into the tech hub. The land initially allocated for Akon City will now host a $1.2 billion scaled-back tourism development managed by SAPCO. And now to Malaysia, as Malaysia delivers 25 basis points rate cut as expected. The Central Bank of Malaysia lowered its benchmark interest rate by 25 basis points to 2.75% during its July 2025 policy meeting, in line with market expectations. This marked the first rate cut in 5 years, underscoring the central bank's commitment to supporting domestic economic momentum amid a weaker growth outlook and rising global trade uncertainties. Headline and core inflation averaged 1.4% and 1.9% respectively in the first 5 months of the year. For the full year, inflation is expected to remain moderate, supported by subdued global cost pressures and the absence of significant domestic demand-driven inflation. Meanwhile, Malaysia's GDP expanded by 4.4% year on year in the first quarter of 2025, aligning with earlier estimates but easing from a revised 4.9% growth rate in the previous quarter. In Japan, looking at Japan's unsustainable retiree burden on its shrinking workforce. Decades of falling fertility are causing the working age population of Japan to fall. Simultaneously, retirees are living longer and forming an ever larger portion of the population. Simultaneously, as we looked at, these factors are causing an extraordinary decline in the number of working age people available to support the expanding number of retirees. In 1950, there were 12 people of working age supporting each Japanese retiree. By 2050, it will be less than 2, or further, the fast expanding 65 plus years old, mostly retired cohorts across governments of rich countries are more than the equivalent number of workers due to unfunded pension, medical, and old age care costs. 3 times seems a minimum. Adding to this already nightmarish equation is the fact that only about 80% of the working age population has a job due to unemployment, illness, etc. And therefore, these figures overstate the number of workers available to support retirees today. Consequently, an unprecedented and unsustainable tax burden is emerging in Japan. Let's look at the chart indicating the number of working age people to dependents in Japan. Well, far back in the years, the observation has been totally different. Well, as at a far back times, when you look at the numbers, we're talking about 1950. Well, the working age population was at about 12 to 1 dependent. According to the chart you're seeing, a working age to which refers to people within the working age, talking about 15 to 64 years, within the period of 1950 to 2050 as projected. You can see the decline in the number of working age compared to the number of retirees and how this is costing the government. And according to the stats from World Economics, we're saying today, 2025, it indicates that it would be just lower than one person moving forward, currently at around 2 persons, 2 working age persons to a retiree. So, as this slides going forward even to 2050, it would be getting to just 1 person to one retiree. What an economy it would be, and the state of the economy of Japan. More retirees compared to working age. In Egypt, Egypt's June inflation rate falls more than expected. The annual urban inflation rate in Egypt cooled down to 14.9% in June 2025 from 16.8% in May, coming in below the expected 16.2% and breaking a 3-month uptrend. Prices for food and beverages decelerated to 6.9% in June from 11.2% in May, though fuel costs remain elevated due to April's energy price hikes of up to 15%. Meanwhile, Egypt's parliament has approved a series of changes to the value added tax VAT, the VAT law, in late June, which could lead to a rise in the prices of goods such as cigarettes, alcoholic beverages, and crude oil. And now let's look at the chart indicating Egypt's inflation rate. Inflation rates in Egypt. The chart. According to the chart, we've seen the increases, the dynamics of the increases and the drop as of June last year. It was about 27.5% in Egypt amid recent debts and IMF shocking of the economy of Egypt in terms of the loans are getting. But beyond that, inflation continued to drop until 2025 and dropped even low in February to about 12.8%, but began to rise slowly and further dropped in June, indicating the Egyptian pound are being better and stronger and the cost of commodities not too high in Egypt. And now to the markets as copper hits record high as Trump unveils 50% import tariffs. Copper futures in the US soared to a fresh record of $5.7 per pound before easing back to $5.5 today, gaining 14% on the last two sessions as US President Donald Trump announced plans to impose a 50% tariff on copper imports. The move is aimed at bolstering domestic production and reducing reliance on foreign supply as the US currently imports nearly half of its copper, while as Chile as the primary source. The new tariff brings copper in line with existing 50% duties on steel and aluminium, further escalating trade tensions and fueling volatility in the metal market. Quickly, let's go to the market, starting with the metal market and afterwards the energy, industrial, livestock, and agricultural market. The metal market this afternoon. The price of gold stands at 3,297 US dollars per ounce, falling and by 4.25 points. Silver also dropping, copper also falling, steel price dropping 2 points this morning. Volatility has been a thing in the market this afternoon, but somehow most of the metal commodities are on the negative. And now to energy market. Energy market depicts the price of crude oil, US crude at 68 US dollars per barrel. US crude gaining 0.074 points and Brent price at 70 US dollars per barrel, gaining a 0.14 percentage appreciation. Natural gas falling by 4.37%, gasoline also falling. And now the industrial commodities. Industrial commodities depict some certain increment that's happened within it. Let's look at the industrial commodities and afterwards look at the livestock markets and agricultural market. But starting with industrial commodities, a bitumen price stands at 3,622 Chinese yuan per ton, falling by 6 points. Cobalt, no significant change. The price of lead dropping 16 points this morning. Aluminium dropping by 6 points this afternoon rather. Talking about a livestock market. A livestock market indicates a feeder cattle, a price falling this afternoon 319 pounds US dollar per pound. A livestock cattle are gaining 0.125 a point, and lean hogs also are falling. Beef price gaining, but volatility has been a concern in the market. Quickly, let's look at the price of Bitcoin. A Bitcoin volatility dropped to a third lowest level since 2012 amid rise in BTC treasury companies. Meanwhile, Bitcoin BTC trades above $108,000 today are following a steady decline in its volatility in the first half of the year, marking the third lowest first half volatility since 2012. The decline comes despite increased Bitcoin treasury adoption among publicly traded companies, with New York Security Exchange listed as Segwan Communications (SQNS) raising $384 million to fund its Bitcoin treasury. Bitcoin volatility hit its third lowest first half of the year level on record this year, marking one of the calmest periods for the asset since 2012. The top crypto day-to-day volatility has also remained muted since May 22nd, following a continued decline in implied volatility across the options market. Let's close with the Bitcoin market this afternoon. The cryptocurrency markets. A crypto market indicates the price of Bitcoin at 109,462 US dollars, gaining 515 points. Ether gaining 50 points this morning at 2,665 US dollars. Binance 2.3 points upward. Cardano, Solana, Ripples all gaining this afternoon. It's a story that comes with world economy and the traction within the tariff. And here we draw the curtain on today's edition of World Economy. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Blyden Kim, and thank you for watching.